All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have trimester 2 test coming on up. Remember, trimester 2 test is like an extra credit a test, or more specifically, um, a last chance, right? What's important here? Is it important that you just get good grades? No, that's not it. Okay. In fifth grade, it's way more important that you're understanding the material. Okay. That's the most important thing. And for my students out there whose maturity is up, right? You're a mature person, you're a mature student. You understand that. Now, what I would like for us to focus on today is Unit 3. And remember, Unit 3, we covered these 6 different objectives, and they all have to deal with multiplying and dividing fractions. Okay, so if you did not yet complete it, please try your best to complete these 6 challenge questions. So you could pause it right now and just show me that you understand what you're doing, or more importantly, try to figure out what you do not understand what you're doing so we could just really focus on that. Another way to figure out what you struggled with, you want to go into your test, your Unit 3 test. And the way to do that is you go into your classwork, right? On your Google Classroom, you go into your classwork. Once you go into your classwork, you're going to want to find where it says math test. This person doesn't have that, so they have to just go into math, but you guys should all have math test as an option. When you go into math test, you want to find the Unit 3 test, okay? And then when you find the Unit 3 test, which you took in December, you're going to want to click that test. It's going to say, hey, you've already responded. And you say, that's okay, I want to view my score. When you view your score, you're going to scroll until you find each of these, and they're not going to be right next to each other. 3A is going to see how you did when it comes to recognizing that division is a fraction, right? These types of problems right here, you're going to have a 3 out of 3, a 2 out of 3, a 1 out of 3, or a 0 out of 3. If you got a 3, you have a mastery on your report card already. If you have a 2, you have approaching mastery. And if you have a 1, that is the area that tells us that we are so confused, we are not understanding that at all. 1s are where we're really targeting, and 2s we're also targeting. If it's a 3, you are golden, my friend. You already have a 3 on your report card, but more importantly, it's saying, hey, you have already mastered that. You get it. You understand what you're doing, okay? So this person, I pulled up another student, and they got almost 100% on the test with recognizing division. They have a 3 out of 3, which says, hey, I mastered that. I get it. Multiplying a fraction by a whole number, mastery. Find the area of a rectangle, mastery. Predicting how the answer is going to change, mastery. And then solving problems involving multiplication, they have a 2. So right now on the report card, they have all 3s except for one area that just says they're still a little bit confused. Well, this is the area that this student wants to focus on. Now it's up to you to figure out which area that you really need focus on. All right, so you've already completed this, and like I said, if not, complete it right now. I'm going to go over the answers. And remember, the idea here is that you are watching to totally get it. Okay, even if you have all 3s, you're watching right now to see if you still remember how to do this. So let's start with A. Did you remember which method to use with 3 divided by 10? If you were to use the house method, the first number you say goes in the house. The second number you say goes on the outside of the house. But more importantly, remember, the best method to use on these is slice. So this answer actually is 3/10. We have 3 of something and 10 people are sharing it. Answer is 3/10. Let's go to B. Do you know how to take a fraction of a whole number? Well, remember, when we multiply, we have to make sure that we're multiplying both numerators and denominators. 5 is a whole number. So to make it a fraction, you just put a 1 under it. Now you multiply across. Remember, if you want to simplify first, you can. However, here we cannot simplify first. When we multiply across, we get 5/3. And 5/3 is a mixed number, right? Because it takes 3 to make a whole number. We have 5, so we can pull out 3, which 3/3 makes a whole, right? I'll just show you what I pulled out here. So what's left over? There's still 2/3 left over. So that answer is 1 2/3. This Common Core says, hey, the students can find the area of a rectangle with fractional sides. Remember, to find an area of anything, you are going to multiply. You're going to multiply the length times the width. So you're going to multiply the one side with the other side. So 5/6 is going to get multiplied by a 7th. 5 times 1 is 5. 6 times 7 is 42. And that is kind of your answer. The only other thing is, and we're going to learn this whenever we're finding area, it's not centimeters. It's not whatever unit you're using, because an area is a square. So it's centimeters to the second power, square centimeters, or centimeters squared. Okay, let's go down to D. All this one is, and this one's a really hard one to teach. It's saying if you focus on one of the numbers, so here they want to focus on 2, is your answer going to be bigger or smaller than 2? Well, what is 2 getting multiplied by? 2 is getting multiplied by a number smaller than 1. Whenever you take a fraction of a number, your answer is smaller. So the answer is going to be smaller than 2. Now, if the question instead said, hey, is the half going to get bigger or smaller? Then that answer would be bigger because the half is getting multiplied by 2. But the question's really just focusing on the number 2. Will the 2 get bigger or smaller? That answer is smaller. Let's look at E. Okay, same thing. Remember, whenever we multiply, you want to make sure this is the animal that you're going to have to reference today. Cat. Meow. All right, whenever we multiply, let's get rid of that. Whenever we multiply fractions, you have to make sure that they're just numerator denominators multiplied by numerator denominators. So this is a mixed number. It's not a numerator denominator. It's a whole number with a numerator and denominator. But remember, we could turn this into an improper fraction. How many entire thirds would it be? Well, each of the wholes, there's 5 wholes, each whole is 3/3. So you have 5 of them. So you have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So the 5 wholes is like 15 thirds, right? And if the 5 wholes is 15 thirds, you also have these 2 thirds, so you have 17 thirds. And remember, the way that we can figure that out is you multiply and then add. 5 times 3 is 15, 16, 17. So we could turn this into a fraction and just turn it into 17 thirds. And if I were to ask you, hey, what's bigger, 17 thirds or 5 2/3, you'd say they're equal. Now we just have to multiply across. 17 times 2 is 34. And then 3 times 3 is 9. Are we done? No, we're not finished yet, because this is an improper fraction. So Remember, whenever we have an improper fraction, it's like the 9's like, I don't want to be the denominator anymore. And it pushes over the 34. And then this breaks. And then the 9's now on the outside of the house. So we can find 34/9 and figure out what that is as a mixed number by dividing. How many 9's go into 34? Well, 9, 18, 27, 3 of them. It's 27. So there's 7 left over. Well, we're all out of numbers, so it's 3 and 7/9. So what is 34 as a fraction, as a mixed number? 3 and 7/9. So this answer here is 3 and 7/9. And finally, let's go to F. We have a third of something, and we're dividing it by 5. In division, the order matters. The first number is what you actually have. The second number is how many people are splitting it up. So if I have a third of something, and I want to see how many each person would get, well, that's division. Now so we have house, we have slice, we have keep, change, flip. Which one do we use here? Whenever you're dividing with fractions, we want to keep, change, flip. So you keep a third the same. You change the sign from division to multiplication, and then you flip the 5. This is called its reciprocal. Well, 5 is a whole number. And a whole number means it's the same thing as 5 over 1. And then when you flip it, the reciprocal of 5 is 1/5. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 3 is 15. So that answer is 1/15. How'd you do? Are you ready for the end of the try test? Did you master multiplication and division of fracciones? Well, let's see. I'm going to meet you at 10:30 for our live session. I got done with that pretty quickly. For the live session, I'm going to go over these answers right here. I'm going to go over these answers right here. They're just like the ones we did, except for a little bit different. Let's see how you can do. So pause the video and try these 6 questions, and then we'll go over the answers at 10:30.